So, the Nissan LEAF. If you've been watching the EV space for, well, any length of time, you know that name.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The original, right? Kind of
Yeah.
the friendly face of early electric cars.
Exactly. That sort of bubble shape, maybe a bit quirky.
Definitely quirky.
Yeah.
And the range was, well, it was fine for commuting, maybe not so much for a long motorway trip.
Right. But now, this third generation LEAF is landing in the UK, and honestly, it looks like a totally different car.
It's a huge transformation,
Mhm.
really radical. It's like completely shed that old hatchback identity.
Yeah, it's gone full crossover SUV, hasn't it?
And you can really see they're positioning it directly against, the big European mainstream EVs, thinking Kia EV3, the VW ID.3.
Okay, so let's maybe unpack that a bit. What does this massive change actually mean? Not just, the performance numbers, but for manufacturing here in the UK, for what you'll actually pay.
And sort of what it signals about where the whole EV market is heading.
Right.
Because this isn't just a concept, it's coming.
That's right. Deliveries are set for spring 2026.
Yeah, spring 26 for UK customers, and you can order one from autumn 2025. So it's pretty imminent, really, based on some quite interesting engineering choices.
Let's start with the look then. That design. It's such a departure.
Dramatic, isn't it? Lower, feels wider, much more modern. You can clearly see the links to the Nissan area and that chill-out concept they showed.
It looks good, but I guess there's a function behind the form.
Oh, completely. Efficiency seems to have been the absolute focus. They've achieved a drag coefficient of just 0.25.
Wow, 0.25. That's really low, especially for a crossover shape.
It's class-leading, basically. And getting there meant really thinking about every detail, the closed grille, those flush door handles, how the air flows off the back. It's all about slicing through the air cleanly.
And that translates directly into
Range.
Yeah.
Better aerodynamics mean you go further on the same amount of energy. We can definitely get into range figures.
Hold on, though. There's something interesting in the details here. It looks bigger, more substantial, but the specs say it's actually shorter, 140 millimeters shorter than the old one.
That's right. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah, how do you make it shorter on the outside but keep or even increase the space inside? Isn't that usually a compromise?
Well, that's where the platform comes in. Moving to the CMF EV platform, that's the key. It's the same one underpins, several modern EVs.
Okay, and what does that allow?
It's designed purely for electric. No need to work around where an engine or gearbox used to be. So it's like a skateboard-designed battery flat underneath, wheels pushed right to the corners.
Ah, so you get a much longer wheelbase relative to the overall length.
Exactly. And that flat floor just opens up the cabin. So yeah, you can shrink the external footprint a bit, but actually make the inside feel more spacious. It's clever packaging, really, thanks to that dedicated EV architecture.
And really importantly for the UK, this isn't just being shipped in, it's being built here.
Yes, at the Sunderland plant. Big news for the 6,000 workers there. It really cements Sunderland as Nissan's main European EV base.
And that's tied into the battery production too, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's that huge £1 billion investment in the AESC UK battery factory right next door. That whole setup car assembly plus local batteries is called the EV360 project. It basically makes Sunderland a proper flagship EV hub. Good for jobs, good for skills in the Northeast.
Okay, so good arrow, clever packaging, UK built.
Uh.
Let's talk range. That's the big payoff everyone looks for. The original LEAF, maybe 100 miles if you were lucky on the old test cycle.
Yeah, something like that. The new one. It's just a different world. Range anxiety is pretty much off the table here.
So what are the numbers?
Two main options. The entry level gets a 52 kilowatt-hour battery. That delivers, on the WLTP cycle, around 270 to 271 miles.
Okay, that's already nearly triple the old one's realistic range. Pretty solid.
It is. But then there's the top spec version.
Which pushes things further.
Much further. That one has a 75 kilowatt-hour battery, and the WLTP range is quoted as up to 375, maybe 386 miles. That's serious long-distance capability.
Wow. And they seem confident in the real-world efficiency, too.
Yeah, Nissan made a point of saying that even if you drive it constantly at 80 miles per hour, which, let's face it, really hammers an EV's battery, the 75 kilowatt version will still give you over 205 miles.
Okay, that does suggest that 0.25 drag coefficient is really doing its job at higher speeds?
Definitely. And that top model isn't slow either. 214 horsepower motor, 0 to 62 miles per hour in about 7.6 seconds. Quite punchy.
But maybe the biggest practical upgrade, certainly for anyone using public chargers in Europe, is the plug itself.
Oh, this is huge. Finally, they're ditching CHAdeMO for the European models.
Moving to CCS, the standard pretty much everyone else uses here.
Exactly. For anyone who's ever pulled up to a charger and found the wrong connector, this is just essential. It makes life so much easier.
It basically means Nissan's admitting defeat in the European charger format war.
Pretty much. But for you, the driver, it just means almost any rapid charger you find across the UK or the continent will work. No more play anxiety.
Removes a huge headache. And the charging speed itself?
It's competitive. Max DC rapid charging is 150 kilowatts.
Which translates to...
It means you can add a decent chunk of range, somewhere between 260 and 273 miles, in about 30 minutes. So motorway stops become much quicker and more convenient.
And it's got V2L as well, vehicle to load.
Yep, that's becoming pretty standard now. The IL offers either 3.1 or 3.6 kilowatts of output power.
So what can you actually run with that?
Quite a lot, actually. Think power tools on a building site, maybe running a decent camping setup, lights, fridge, that sort of thing. Or even, keeping your fridge and lights on at home if there's a brief power cut.
So the car becomes a sort of mobile battery pack.
Exactly. Shifts it from just using energy to potentially providing it too.
Okay, let's move inside the car, because the cabin looks just as transformed as the outside.
Totally different vibe. No more of that slightly quirky dash. It's very clean, open plan, dominated by those two big screens.
Dual 14.3-inch screens, right? One for the driver, one for infotainment.
Yeah. And the system behind it is Nissan Connect, but with Google built in. That's quite a significant upgrade.
So you get Google Maps natively?
Yes. And crucially, the Google Maps Car Route Planner. This is clever because it doesn't just find chargers. It plans the route to optimize the battery's temperature before you arrive at the charger.
Ah, so it preconditions the battery.
Exactly. Which means you hit the charger in the ideal state to accept the fastest possible speed. Less waiting time.
That's smart. You also get Google Assistant, presumably, and apps.
Yeah, Google Assistant for voice control, and you can download apps like YouTube, Spotify, etc. directly from the Google Play Store.
Now, with all this tech, screens everywhere, physical buttons, did any survive?
Thankfully, yes. This is something Nissan seems to have got right. There are still physical buttons for the climate controls, and crucially, a proper volume knob.
Good. That makes such a difference when you're driving. Less distraction.
Definitely a good balance between the touchscreen interface and essential tactile controls. They've clearly thought about ergonomics.
And that CMF EV platform we talked about, the space benefits show up inside too.
Big time. The boot space, for example, it's 437 liters.
How does that compare?
It's 50 liters bigger than the previous Leaf, and noticeably larger than key rivals like the VW ID.3, which only has 385 liters. So quite practical.
And in the back seats.
This is a big one, especially if you have kids. There's 80 millimeters more knee room in the rear.
80 millimeter, that sounds like a lot.
It is. It means you can actually fit a bulky rear-facing child seat behind the front passenger without having to slide their seat all the way forward. That's a genuine daily usability win for families.
That's huge, actually. Any other neat interior features?
Well, you can option things like a Bose Personal Plus audio system, which is pretty cool. It has speakers built into the front headrests.
Ah, for that surround sound effect?
Yeah, creates a more immersive soundstage just for the front occupants. And there's an optional panoramic glass roof. But instead of blind, it uses electrochromic dimming technology.
So you just press a button and it darkens.
Exactly. And because there's no bulky blind mechanism, they actually gained about 30 millimeters of headroom. Clever touch.
Safety tech is obviously included.
Of course, all the usual ADAS stuff, intelligent emergency braking, lane keep assist, and you can get optional extras like the 3D around view monitor, which is great for parking.
And that invisible hood view, what's that?
It uses the cameras to stitch together an image that basically makes the bonnet seem transparent on the screen, so you can see exactly where your front wheels are when maneuvering in really tight spots. Quite futuristic.
Very clever. And I read something about the taillights having a hidden detail.
Oh yeah, a little design Easter egg. The 3D holographic taillights have this pattern. If you know what you're looking for, it subtly incorporates the Japanese katakana characters for Nissan.
Ah, a little nod to their heritage. Nice touch.
Yeah, blends the modern tech with a bit of brand history.
Okay, so great tech, improved practicality, UK built. But the crucial piece for making it mainstream in the UK, the price. What are we expecting?
The estimates put the starting price somewhere upwards of £30,000, maybe around £33,000 seems likely, which positions it pretty competitively against those rivals we mentioned.
That's the list price, the MSRP. But for many people in the UK, especially employees, the real cost comes down to company car schemes, right?
Exactly. Salary sacrifice schemes like the electric car scheme are the key here. This is where the Leaf could become a seriously compelling value proposition.
Let's just break that down, because the savings can be pretty significant. The sources mentioned maybe 20% to 50% less than personal leasing. How does that actually work?
It comes down to tax, basically. Two main benefits. First, the payments for the car lease are taken from your salary before tax, and national insurance are calculated.
So you're paying with gross income, not net income.
Right. That's the first big saving. The second part is the benefit in kind tax, or BIC,
Which is usually quite high for company cars.
but not for electric cars. Because the Leaf has zero emissions, it falls into the lowest BIC tax band. For the 2025-26 tax year, that's just 3%.
3%. That's incredibly low.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
So the amount of extra tax you pay for the benefit of having the car is minimal. You combine that low BIC rate with paying pre-tax, and your effective monthly cost just plummets. That's how you get those 20 to 50% savings compared to sorting out a lease yourself.
Okay, so when you put it all together, it's built in Britain, it has the future-proof tech like CCS charging and the V2L, and then potentially massive savings through company schemes. It does feel like it's shifting gears.
Yeah, it feels like it's moving from being that early pioneer to being a really solid mainstream contender. It's like the EV market has grown up and the Leaf has grown up with it.
The original Leaf showed us electric cars could work. This one seems designed to show they can be the default choice, practical, efficient, long-range crossovers.
Absolutely, it ticks a lot of boxes for modern demands.
Now, we mentioned V2L earlier, powering devices. But you also touched on V2G compatibility vehicle to grid.
Yes, the capability is built into the car. V2G is still, well, it's complicated in the UK. The infrastructure, the regulations, the energy market integration, it's all still developing.
But the potential is there.
The potential is huge, and it leaves you with a really interesting thought, doesn't it? If your car can not only draw power from the grid, but also sell power back to the grid, perhaps during peak times when electricity is expensive.
You mean the car could actually earn you money while it's parked?
Potentially, yes. Or at least significantly offset your running costs. So think about this. How long before that car sitting on your driveway isn't just something that uses energy, but becomes an active, maybe even essential part of your home's finances and the wider national energy system?
From just being a consumer of power to being a contributor. Maybe even a little power station on wheels.
It's a fascinating possibility, isn't it? A fitting way to think about the next phase for a car like the Leaf, which started this whole journey for so many.
It certainly is. A lot to think about there. Thanks for unpacking all of that with us.
My pleasure. It's a really significant evolution for the Leaf.
And if you enjoyed this look into the new Leaf and want more deep dives into interesting topics, make sure you follow our channel. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time.